Hi everybody, this is the Dog H. Weber with another edition of Weber on Sports Express here on FingerLakes1.com. Boy, this heat's been brutal, hasn't it? As I broadcast this show, we got some unbelievable, much-needed rain. Never thought I'd say that, but it's been a great stretch of weather, and guess what? They're talking 95 this coming Thursday. Enjoy the heat. Because you know as well as I do, winters in the Finger Lakes, they're pretty horrible. Well, what's horrible is the Women's World Cup. The USA. I'd love to be saying we won the World Cup. I can't say that. I remember way back when I started following sports with intensity, I was always reminded by some much older folks telling me, hey dog, when you are such a dominant factor and you are such a landslide advantage over the other team, you don't want that other team to hang around too long. Because if you do, if you let them hang around, you could get bit in the butt. That's what happened yesterday. Shockingly, the USA loses to Japan. If you'd watched that game, and I'm not a soccer fan, but I'm getting to be one, my wife and me were watching that game glued on Sunday afternoon. It looked like it should have been 4-0 after the first 20 minutes. The USA had more opportunities only to miss the net, go over it and around it, goodbye. Keep in mind, the United States of America has played Japan 25 times leading up to the final. You know what their record was? 25-0. They never lost to Japan. Number 2 stat, every time the USA women took a lead in a game, they never lost it. Way back when. Unfortunate, USA loses to a gutsy bunch of Japanese ladies. Japan nips the United States of America. Heartbreak City. Can you spell heartbreak? What an unbelievable loss. But I guess the only good sign of that coin, if you're thinking about good signs in a defeat, is if any country needed to win the World Cup, it had to be Japan. Why? Japan, of course, rocked with unbelievable, horrific earthquakes, nuclear plant explosions. So if any country needed it for a morale boost, it was Japan. What a game effort by the USA ladies. But again, they let that Japanese team hang around. They got bit in the butt at the end. Pittsburgh. I'm going to zero in on Pittsburgh right now. Going to talk about the Steelers, namely one individual, outside linebacker James Harrison out of Kent State. If you follow football like I do, and like many of you do, you will know there's an ongoing feud between James Harrison, the outside linebacker, and Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the National Football League. Mr. Goodell has thought many of his hits were cheap hits, were abrasive hits, were hits that he didn't need to take. Thus, he fined Mr. Harrison about $150K in 2010. Harrison, on the other hand, said, hey, I'm playing football. I'm a linebacker. I'm supposed to crush the running backs and the receivers. $150,000 in fines. In a recent article posted a few days ago, Harrison was asked about his ongoing feud with Roger Goodell. And I quote, Harrison said, if Roger Goodell was ablaze, was put on fire, pants, shirt, and everything, he would not urinate on him in an effort to douse those flames. I hate the man, said Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call a feud going on. The thing about Goodell is he can't fine Harrison for those remarks. A, freedom of speech. B, they do not have a signed contract yet in the NFL, even though we expect to see a deal in the next 7 to 10 days. You gotta love sports. Staying on Pittsburgh, let's talk about the Pirates. You know, late Friday night, I was outside and I noticed up in the sky we had a full moon. I didn't think much of that, but the next morning when I opened up the sports page, I realized why it was a full moon. The Pittsburgh Bucks, the Pittsburgh Pirates of the National League, were in first place. Yes, mid-July 2011, they were in first place by 5 percentage points. I might add to you folks, that is the latest in the baseball season that they have been in first place since 1997. We all know if you're a Pittsburgh fan, they haven't made the playoffs in nearly 2 decades. In my judgment, looking at that roster, they got one player, Andrew McCutchen, the center fielder. Good player. However, the rest of the roster for the Pirates remind me of the Bad News Bears. They don't spend any money. They never try to improve that team. How can they be in first place? Trust me, it won't last long. I was telling my friend Jimmy Senacropi before I taped this show today that I was going to be mentioning Derek Jeter. Of course, his climatic 3,000 hit. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Would you like an autographed baseball signed by Derek Jeter? $599 plus shipping and handling. You want an autographed baseball and another t-shirt? How about $499 plus shipping and handling? Would you like a little, I don't know, a little memento of Derek? How about 2 ounces of his saliva? Yes, you can get 2 ounces of Derek Jeter's saliva for $49.99 plus shipping and handling. I'm only kidding about the saliva. But as I was telling Jimmy Senecropi, he could literally sell his saliva, and there'd be some moron out there ready to write a check. Only in the world of sports can Derek Jeter sell anything with his likeness on it and make a small fortune. You got to give credit to Derek Jeter. He's a humble guy, but when it comes to ringing the cash register, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Well, you know something, folks? Speaking of the National Football League, it is getting encouraging to me that we might get a settlement in the next 7 to 10 days. Here are 2 greedy factions arguing over a $9.5 billion purse, how to split it up. We understand they're close. Maybe we'll be saying play football in the next 7 to 10 days. Let's hope and pray it does happen. You know, this segment of my show, I always call it the person of the persons of the week. Today we're talking about the persons of the week. And it has to do with a party. 3 close friends, Chad Sanderson, his wife Carol, the likes of Hawk, Jimmy Rickey, and his wife Annie, and Fran Parado, and his pretty wife Nancy. They were at Bull's Run this past St. Patrick's Day, and they were listening to a group called Mitty and the Followers out of Rochester. Some of those members were formerly of the Wilmer Alexander and the Duke group. They decided to hire this group to have a party at Vince's Park this past Saturday. They underwrote all the costs. We were attending, my wife and myself, on this past Saturday. It was fabulous. Mitty and the Followers, they play soul music. It was spectacular. The food was cheap, the beer was cold, the wine was delicious, and the water was refreshing. It was fabulous. So kudos goes out to the big 3, Chad Sanderson, the Hawk, Jimmy Rickey, and Fran Parado, and their wives, and everybody else connected with that event. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, and to think about it, these 3 friends probably took a beating as far as the cash register go, but they wanted to bring back the old days, reminiscent of some of the great parties we did back in the 60s and 70s. So kudos goes out to Chad Sanderson, Jimmy Rickey, and Fran Parado. 3 classy people. Congratulations on your kindness. We had a ball. Well, folks, coming up in a couple of weeks, we're going to be debuting the Dog and the Paulie podcast, August the 3rd. Yes, right, we'll have some fun. I hope that you'll enjoy us. Until next time, everybody, that's a look at sports my way.